We are a sometimes ragtag group of very eclectic folks in Chicago who have really put our heads together and thought a lot about what does it mean to do movement building. And part of that is, for me anyway, inspired by Ella Baker's tradition and the lessons of her life and work, which is to be enormously patient and tolerant and to do a lot of listening. And what we try to do is become fluent in each other's struggles and each other's cultures, and to really practice a certain kind of reciprocity.
Most of my work has been either international solidarity work or very community-based local work. And ARC has provided me a space where I can take these two different aspects of really local, community-based or issue-based organizing work to and connect international solidarity and bring it to a platform that talks about how do we not just get a bigger piece of the pie, but a bigger pie for everybody. Where we're not thinking about one issue or one community or get in that struggle of identity politics, but go beyond that to ask for something bigger for each one of us involved.
One of the key principles of ARC is the idea that learning to talk with one another is a political act, and that while all of us are working in important projects and campaigns and movements, the critical thing for us is to get to the root of things, to develop an analysis. But that can't happen without every voice being represented and learning how to talk to one another across projects, across campaigns, and across movements. And so the ARC experience, which for me is years and years of work and kind of trying to do movement building, thinking that movement building is an essential aspect of everything that we do. Not because we can will a movement into being, but because if we don't prepare, then as events, spontaneous events kick off, we'll be nowhere ready to connect up. So from my perspective, learning to talk with one another is itself a political act. And finding a language, a commonality of purpose, a sense of the deep goodwill and democratic dreams that we share.
ARC is about learning from taking risks and trying to create new conversations by bringing different constituencies and different issues together and making people rethink kind of what politics is. It's not just going to vote, it's something big and it's every day and it's in our lives. And so I think that event stimulated people to think along those lines, but it also wasn't exactly what we anticipated. So we learned from it, and it had some successes and some failures, but that's part of what movement building is, and it's part of what it means to take risks and try and grow as an organization.
And the question for all great organizers is what's the spark that makes that a movement? How do we feel that we have more people coming, that we're creating motion, waves? And I think there's a couple of examples, like the Justice, for example, 2.3 million people in prison in the United States. Nobody's more than 2 inches away from the Gulag. Down the road is a prison. There are people caged here, overwhelmingly for nonviolent offenses, overwhelmingly people of color. How do we unlock that? We have to close those places down. We have to free people. We have to tap the resource and wisdom of our young people. And I think when we've had programming about the incarceration of young people of color in the United States and how much that sparked an abolitionist movement now for a decade in the United States, how is that tied to the wars abroad? How is it tied to Gaza, the Gaza freedom? Why is Gaza becoming a center of a population of 1.5 million people locked really in an open-air prison in the Middle East, 5,000 miles away from here? And the connections between those, making people understand that these are not separate injustices in the world, but linked to the global system we have, and kind of inspiring people to see our efforts here at Liberation and Freedom tied to what's happening all around the world. That's the excitement of movement building, where you become more than a single issue. You become part of the drive toward liberation and freedom.